Hello everybody, welcome to my Minecraft Feed the Beast Unleashed Let's Play series. I'm your host, Blimfark. Today I want to talk to you about a very important mod in this pack called DartCraft. In large part, the addition of DartCraft is what makes Unleashed my favorite mod pack to play. The mod becomes useful just as you're casting off your stone tools and smelting up those first iron ingots. By now you've probably noticed a strange glowing yellow ore that, when mined, drops force gems. Grab a couple of crystals and put them in a crafting table along with 2 iron ingots, and you get 2 force ingots. Or if you have the extra coal, cook the iron a second time to get enriched iron, which will give you 3 force ingots per craft. Okay, you got the ingots. Now what? Well, you could make some force shears, which are pretty useful, but you should probably make a force rod first. Take one of your ingots and craft it into 9 nuggets. Place 1 nugget in the lower left corner of the crafting grid, a stick in the center, and an entire force ingot into the upper right slot, and you got your first force rod. Are you impressed yet? I didn't think so. You probably noticed that the rod is nearly broken. I think it only holds like 3 charges. So for now, put it away until you have an oak sapling. I think you can use other kinds of trees, but not all the saplings will work. I know oaks do, so we're going to use one of those. Plant your sapling, then right-click it with the rod, and poof, you've got a force sapling. Now you need either some bone meal or some patience. I'm going to use bone meal. Once the tree grows, you want to chop it down. As the leaves despawn, they drop force saplings and nuggets, force nuggets. Replant the saplings. If you grow enough force trees, they can actually keep you stocked with ingots. You just collect the nuggets that drop and you combine them in a crafting table. Also, the wood has special properties. Let's put a log in the crafting table. It crafts into 4 planks and then 8 sticks, just as you would expect a log to do. Now let's take 2 sticks and 3 force ingots and craft them into a pick. And 2 sticks and an ingot to make a shovel and a force axe, and we'll finish off with the force sword. So, what's special about the shovel? Well, it digs like a shovel. No big deal. But if you shift and right-click the shovel, it says area mode activated. Let's see what that's about. It takes a little longer to dig, then boom, that's a hole. So now that we've hit some stone, let's try the pick. It works like a pick. It will, however, already mine obsidian, so it's already better than diamond tools. It just does it really slowly. And if we shift and right-click, you guessed it, we get an area of effect and a great big hole. You may have noticed that using the area of effect uses a lot of durability, and when a force tool breaks, you're left holding a force shard. Don't throw that away, though. It'll come in handy later. I'm sure you're already beginning to see how useful this mod is. You can make tools that outperform iron for less ore. In fact, if you have enough force trees dropping nuggets, you could potentially make all your tools without using any iron at all. And this is just the basic stuff. So let's kick this up a notch. For now, the sword and axe, just like their normal the sword and axe act just like their normal counterparts do. They have a little more durability than iron tools. But once we build a force infuser, we'll be able to customize our tools in some very useful ways. How do you make a force infuser? Well, I'm glad you asked. They take a couple of components to build, and they require both power and something called liquid force to operate. Don't worry about that. We'll cover the liquid force soon. And we already have the stuff to make it. So let's get started. First we need a block of obsidian. I'd rather not dig to find the obsidian. I could mine it with the force pick, but it takes a while, and also there's a fair chance that the block of obsidian, or myself, will fall into the nearby lava. Luckily I know a better way. Just over this hill, there's a cave with some lava in it. I'll bring back a bucket full of lava, place the lava, and turn the source block into obsidian by dumping water on it. I'll have to be quick and careful, though, because I'm living in a wood house. So what could possibly go wrong, right? So we set up our forms, we put in the lava, add the water to turn it into an obsidian block. Good thing nothing caught fire. So we take the shovel, we want to make sure it's not in area mode, that's not good in the house, and we break away the dirt. Now we're left with just the obsidian block. And remember that force rod? We take that out again. There he is. And we're going to right click on the block, and that gives us a force infuser. Well, sort of. It still needs a book to make it work, as well as liquid force and power. And for the book, we're going to need leather. So what we're going to do is make a pair of force shears. Remember I talked about those earlier, and we're going to go find some cows. Now normally I could just take my force sword and go after some cows, but I'm an animal lover, so we're going to use the force shears on these guys. There they are. Alright, come here, buddy. Oh, he's getting away. Hey, buddy, come here for a minute. Alright, so now we got some leather, and the cow, he'll be alright once his skin grows back. He'll just eat some grass.
Oh my god, my ribs hurt.
It looks like today we're joined at the studio by Awesome Cute Girl 11.
I'm an animal lover.
Shut up.
I hurt. Everything hurts. My bones hurt.
Are you actually eating baby food?
Yes.
That's disgusting.
It's delicious. Hey, you can try some.
No, thank you.
Go to the baby food way.
No, thank you for joining us at the studio.
I'm not leaving. You're gonna have to kick me out.
Here in the secret hotel at the top of Mount Everest.
Oh my god.
We'll use a little bit of sugar cane to make some paper. Put that on the crafting table with a leather. That gives us a book. And we're going to use that force rod to turn that book into an upgrade tome. Let's toss it on the floor and then right click it. And did you see that? We got the upgrade tome, and we also got a force shard like I was telling you about earlier. I'll show you what to do with that in just a second here. Alright, so we put the book for the upgrade tome into the force infuser. And now we can make level 1 upgrades on our tools. We'll take the force shard and put it over here in this slot, and that gives us a little bit of liquid force and also some experience. I think you get 10 experience for every force shard. We still need power over here on this side, but we're going to make a Stirling engine right now for that. It seems at first we need to do a bit of resource gathering. The Stirling engine uses a piston, and I didn't have any redstone. You can see that even with no modifications, this force pick breaks the redstone pretty fast. This little clump should last us a while, so let's head back. The Stirling engine will produce MJ, or Minecraft joules, which is one of the two main types of power that's used in this mod pack. The other type of power is called EU. I don't know what that stands for. I think it's energy units or something like that. Some machines, like planters and harvesters, can use either type, but the force infuser wants MJ. And in some later mod packs, I think someone pulled a Maxwell and unified both MJ and EU into something called RF. If it sounds confusing, that's only because it is. Stirling engines are great for early game power. They're simple to build and can make power from anything that burns. They are, however, very slow. We combine a piston, 2 stone gears, a glass block, and 3 pieces of cobblestone across the top here, and we have a Stirling engine. Let's also make a lever to control it. Now let's place it under the force infuser and give it some fuel. I'm using charcoal made from force logs to fuel the Stirling engine. These are a little more potent than regular charcoal, and will cook 10 items in a standard stone furnace instead of the normal 8. So now while the power starts coming up, let's have a look at something. Earlier when I put the force shard into the infuser, we got 1,000 millibuckets of liquid force. Another way to get liquid force is to use force gems in the infuser. It looks like they also give 1 bucket's worth of liquid, but don't add any experience to the tome. Well, now that we have the juice, let's make something. Sugar is a very handy first-tier crafting component that will work well with lots of items. As you see when we mouse over it, it says speed in yellow. Now let's get some leather and make a pair of boots. We're also going to need a force rod for this, but ours broke earlier, so let's make a new one. But this time we'll use a force stick instead of a regular one. Now we get a rod with full durability instead of just 3 uses. So let's right-click on the, let's toss the boots down, and right-click on them with the force rod, and we get a pair of force boots. Pretty neat, right? But it gets better, actually. Let's put them in the fuser and add that lump of sugar. You may notice that there are 2 slots open at tier 1. I could put 2 sugars on the boots. The effect does stack, but I prefer just the one. Now we click the start button, or the go button, and a moment later it's done. So when we look at the boots, now we see they have the speed effect on them. So let's give these guys a try. This is my normal walking speed now. It's quite a bit faster than it was, and I should be able to stay ahead of hostile mobs without too much trouble. Now let's try something else. So far we've only used 200 millibuckets of force and have plenty left over. So let's try an axe now. If we put it in the infuser with a force log, this gives us the lumberjack effect. Let's take it outside to see what that does. So now if we chop at the base of a tree, it cuts the whole thing down at once. Don't forget to replant your saplings. This pick already has some wear on it, but we can still put it in the infuser. Let's see what happens if we use 2 sugars this time. Yeah, it looks like they stack and we get speed too. And the shovel that we used earlier. Let's try something different. Put in a piece of coal, which says heat. Now let's take him outside and see what that's about. Force nugget. Did you see that? We got a block of glass. It actually smelts whatever it digs up. Let's try an area of effect and see what happens then. It takes a little bit, but that's a lot of glass down there. Are you starting to see how cool this mod is? Well, we're starting to run a little bit long, but I do want to show you the pick before we sign out. It does seem to dig maybe a little bit faster than it did. It's still not exactly earth-shattering, but these are still really just the baby steps of this mod. Well, this looks like a good place to stop for now. Be sure to tune in next time for a little closer look at this most excellent mod. See you next time. This is Blimfark signing out.